Hey.
All right. So now we're moving on to the movie portion.
Moving on up.
Movie on up to the east side.
Okay.
So,
In a deluxe
what are the movies we're watching here? Oh, wait. Hi, everybody.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
So, clap, 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 clap.
Right. Let's go.
Woo! Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Midnight Movie Distillery. I'm one of your hosts, Logan Lynch.
I'm your number 2 host, Warwick Price.
I'm Lon Black. What are the movies?
Oh, sorry. Did I interrupt you?
Movies are John Carpenter's The Thing.
John Carpenter's, not Billy Carpenter's The Thing?
No,
Yeah.
John Carpenter's
Okay.
The Thing.
John Carpenter's The Thing.
John Carpenter. His name begins with a J. He was a carpenter. Jesus was a carpenter. Name begins
Was he, though?
I don't know. I heard that.
Some guy called
Everything's
Jesus.
Jesus.
Anyway, The Thing and American Werewolf in London. So,
Was that John Landis?
it would be John Landis.
So we got two Johns.
2 Johns.
Oh, okay.
Um,
A Carpenter and a Landis.
So,
Okay.
as much as everyone makes fun of the fact that I have lots of things that are one of my favorites,
Yep.
Do we
John
want
Carpenter
to
and
bring
John
up the
Landis.
picture just to
Yeah.
show everybody the toughness of this side of the bracket, the east side of the bracket?
Oh, we will. We will.
We can.
When we do the thing.
But so it's like, honestly, John Landis and John Carpenter are two
Two
of
of
my
your favorites. I never thought he would say
Would
that.
never.
I didn't see that coming a mile away.
Really, what can be said about these movies that
Well,
we haven't already talked about?
Right, we've talked about it, but let's
Speaking
compare
of,
the
please
two.
go back and watch the other episodes if you want a deeper dive into them. This is going to be more of just a discussion.
So let's put them head to head. Let's fight it out. They both had a creature. Who had a better creature?
Ooh. Oh God! Just even asking that question is kind of tough.
okay.
Effects-wise, they're both great, right?
See, I think it's actually a little bit. In my mind, it's a little bit easier.
Ooh.
I think that The Thing had a better creature.
Okay.
Agreed.
I think, however, and that creature, you saw it multiple times in multiple iterations, and therefore the special effects on those iterations, because they're all practical, was phenomenal.
Yeah. Both
With
these
that-
movies were all practical effects.
With that said, there obviously is the one main key special effect in American Werewolf in London that basically won the Oscar.
When the nurse was in the shower. Was that the scene?
Yes.
I would have given that an Oscar.
Yeah, Jenny Ackles.
Did I interrupt you for something? I'm
Yes.
sorry, you go ahead.
But anyway, so obviously the werewolf transformation is just phenomenal. I mean, if you watch any documentary that talks about like pivotal moments in horror movie history, I guarantee you that transformation scene will be in there. Very much like the Thing and the blood in the petri dish. I mean, it's
Right.
like,
But
that's a
even the
pivotal
tentacles, the
moment.
whipping tentacles of the Thing, that was a
Do you
breakthrough
think, though,
technique.
you've got kind of both ends of the spectrum. You've got a singular creature in American Werewolf in London versus something that could be anything in The Thing. And I feel like if The Thing had a specific look, he could have maybe honed that in to make it even better.
I
But I like
disagree.
the
I
fact
like
that
that it
there's
wasn't.
no. That's what I mean. But
Right.
that's what I like about it is that it's not a singular thing.
Right.
It's part human in some
Right.
parts. But I think that kind of detracted you from not picking, thinking that the.
Spit it out, boy.
Hold on, let me think this through here.
Okay.
What I'm trying to say is that the singular creature of American Werewolf in London was done spectacularly, right?
Yep.
Because they could focus on that one
They
thing.
defined
right?
what it is.
And I think
nailed
that
it.
that's where I think Carpenter excelled in The Thing is because now he's got to make this thing look, pun intended, like any specific thing. It could be it's part dog and stuff like that. And I mean you see that in the ends, like
Right, because
so,
it's melding.
yeah, I feel like you kind of have to take both endings with the creature because the creature in The Thing it's a what's the word I'm looking for?
Amalgamation?
Amalgamation of all the different people and animals that it's come in contact with versus the awesome effects, practical effects of the transformation. And I mean, just seeing those two, like when I put those side by side, that makes it harder for me.
But
Okay.
that's what I say. I think The Thing has the better creature.
It does, in a sense, right? Though I still feel like just the way that American Werewolf in London did that werewolf, like that's like the epitome.
Agreed. There was no real showing the transformation into a werewolf very much before this.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
And then
This was
Or you
in
could
the
do,
Howling.
wasn't it?
Right,
Was it
right.
Lon Chaney when they did the whole
Then it was just-
facial
Yes.
hair growing out? Like that was really a really cool effect for the time.
Right, but literally that was just him in 3 stages of makeup, and they
Sure.
just transposed the film,
Yeah.
which
But-
back then was great. But they took it a step further. They showed the hair coming out of the skin.
Yeah, that was so
They
cool.
showed, of course, the groundbreaking
nozzle.
nose extension,
Nozzle, sorry.
the ear extension. They showed the hand, the whole thing where he's holding up his hand and it starts to stretch in front of him. That was like mind blowing.
And the other thing I think was they did masterfully in American Werewolf as well was you really only saw that full transformation that one time.
Right.
But that's all you needed.
That's
Well,
all you
and
needed.
that's what I mean because later on you do see him start changing and you see the hands extend.
Right, and then they cut
and then
away.
it cuts to
Yep.
something else because
Yep.
like you know that it's going to go
But
through
that's,
that
I
same
feel like that's a
transformation.
budgetary thing.
Oh, I'm sure.
Again, but you also don't want to kill the special effect by repeating it constantly.
Right.
Correct. Yeah.
Because you
That
make it
tracks
less
from
special.
Right.
Because of,
and the difference was in the Thing, every time it transformed, it was into something different.
Yeah. So you had to, so that's where I felt like it was the master class of, okay, this has got to look like you would not think that this thing is going to be smart enough that, okay, shit, I'm ahead now and it fell off and now I've got to grow legs and get the fuck out of here, right? Like
That was scary as
oh,
fuck.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that any piece of this thing could just run off and go
Right.
wherever it wants.
That
well,
was
the crazy one in the
terrifying.
deleted
Terrifying.
scenes is when he transformed into a toaster. That one didn't work either.
Wow. It was too hot.
You haven't seen that one? Sorry.
I think you're mixing Ghostbusters.
Okay.
now.
Anyway.
But to me, the simple fact that they both had groundbreaking special effects.
They
They
did.
both did something in a masterful way. They focused in on the werewolf and the transformation from human to werewolf in American Werewolf in London. But in The Thing, it was so imaginative, transforming and adding creatures as they go. First it was the dog
Yep.
transforming into the king. Then there was a human involved. Then there was the whole thing with the human with the head falling off and running away and legs. And I mean, it was constantly evolving and changing. And to me, that made The Thing a better creature than American Werewolf in London. So
Now,
again, what I'm
this
trying to
is
do is
just
trying to
creature.
dissect these movies
sure,
so
sure.
we compare little parts.
Sure.
Okay, so
So-
next part for me is like again the difference between the two. So you had The Thing that other than the first the first 5 minutes were a little bit tense because of the chasing the dog and whatever. But you had a little bit of build up in the beginning of maybe 10, maybe 15 minutes. But from that point, from about 20 minutes in, it's non-stop. Like all the way through.
It is.
It's all the way through.
It is pretty much constant.
It's not really comedic. It's like there's a couple of little funny quips here and there, but basically it's just non-stop thriller.
Right.
Compared to American Werewolf, where it's a lot slower of a build-up.
Sure, they got more story to tell.
Right. And it's like you see the friend come back all
Right.
tattered and torn and stuff, and then ultimately you see the other parts, but you still don't know. There's still a part of your brain that goes, it's like, is this just all in his head? It's like,
Sure.
is he just making it up? And it's not really until that first transformation scene
Yeah.
that you actually really start.
That's true. You're right, because you're he could be just seeing his friend, which I guess he kind of was anyway. Doesn't
Right.
matter,
Yeah.
And to be honest, even from that first transformation, it's still. They really play, and a hallmark of John Landis movie, but they really play on the comedic side of the movies without
Yeah.
making it goofy.
Right.
Just making some of the even just the thing where he wakes up in the zoo and he has to steal the kid's balloon.
Right, right,
It's it's funny.
Even the whole part about his friend showing up, he's cracking jokes, eating his breakfast.
Right, and as
know,
things
as-
are falling off his face
Right,
and
right.
stuff.
He's
and-
got his esophagus sticking out. And it's
so it's two different types of storytelling.
right.
Sure.
So let's go on storytelling then. Which do you think had the better story, and which do you think told their story better?
That's still tough because
It's always
you've got
tough.
a
That's why I'm
tried
trying
and
to
true
dissect it.
werewolf film
Yep.
versus something that had been done 30 years, 40 years prior.
50.
I believe it was 1950s, right?
Yeah.
The original.
Yeah.
51.
51, 52. So And it was actually a novella, right? Prior to that, even probably by another 5 or 10 years. But I think, you know, you have a story, but you're talking about, you know, I think time difference too. I think you've got a 2-hour movie with The Thing versus like probably an hour 30, hour 40 with, you know, so that condensing of those two different types of films, I think they were, storytelling wise, I lean more towards The Thing because I feel like it was more challenging. Because you've got many characters in that versus American Werewolf. You've got what 4 or 5 main characters, whereas you know you've got and each you dwindle down characters in The Thing.
Okay.
But in this, it's you know you dwindle down a couple, and then it's more the focus is on the main character.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
But they're great. Both are great for
which
storytelling.
is a downside and which is the upside. Having more
that's
characters,
what's so
having less characters.
hard about this bracket is that the downside would be the longer it's going to have to take for The Thing. The upside is that I feel like Landis was able to, the timing on that movie is perfect. If it was any longer, any shorter, it would have probably felt rushed if it was shorter. Although I still feel the ending was short, it was rushed. But I agree. That's probably a budgetary thing. But you know, the ending of The Thing, it came at kind of the right time. So I lean slightly more towards The Thing on that side.
So if you're talking ending, or you're talking story?
Storytelling.
Okay,
storytelling.
so storytelling.
But I just brought up the ending.
Okay, so storytelling to me, they both were phenomenal in the fact that the story about The Thing, where I love the fact that you start with like 15 guys, and it keeps getting smaller and smaller. One by one, they get picked off, and you're down to the final 2, right? And even then, you're looking at each other, you don't know who's...
spoilers.
Oh,
Just kidding.
If you haven't seen The Thing, then... so that's awesome. That storyline is awesome. The way they told that was awesome. They rushed into the storyline about building the characters, so you knew what everybody was about pretty right away.
Yep.
Right? They had pretty distinct characters to where you knew what this guy was all about.
And that was what that first 10, 15 minutes was. It was just
right.
building those characters.
It was just building character, but they did it very quickly and you understood.
Yep.
American Werewolf in London, they took more time about it because it was more like, look, here's a slice of life. There's a, you know, all the way down from the 2 Americans walking through the moors of England to come across the tiny little, you know, tavern. And that's like, you know, most Americans are like, oh, is that what England is like? Those little tiny taverns and fog everywhere? Little do they know they're right. But that was a little bit more slice of life stuff,
So do you think, based on what you were saying, I took that as you had a bigger group of characters to start off with in The Thing that shrunk down, whereas in the opposite, it was the opposite with American Werewolf. You started off with 2, which then, you know, now he's got a girlfriend, now he's lost his friend, but his friend's still kind of there.
But you still understood the characters, and you got into them, and you liked the relationships. You liked the relationship with the nurse and the patient, and you thought it was believable. And then even when the guests came in, the victims started coming in and stuff like that, they were delightful characters.
But I think actually you hit it really well in terms of it is like you start off with 2, and then the host of characters, like, you know, cast of characters starts getting bigger. I think with The Thing, the whole point of having and introducing you to those 10, 15 peoples is exactly so that you have some empathy, or in certain characters' sake, lack of empathy when they die. Mm-hmm. You know, in other words,
I know people that hated Childs and were like, no, I wish he was not one of the last people, but I kept him watching, right? Like now you've got that, to be honest, that ending is good versus evil, right? You think McCready's good, but now you're like, well, shit, is he? We don't know. Is he the Thing this whole time?
Right, right, and so in other words, I think that's again like the length of The Thing. Diggity.
Diggity, not giggity?
It's supposed to be giggity, but that's cool.
Giggity.
That's okay.
That's all right.
We'll give him a pass.
It's English.
That's how it started.
But anyway, so in other words, it's like that was important to bring those characters in so that you could knock them off one by one. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, again, it's like the Wolford Brimley character. It's like he was
diabetes,
lovable and you know, it's like, so like when you cared for him that they're sticking him away in this cold shed. And,
you did, but I never believed him. It's
no,
like,
I didn't either.
It's like, well,
I'm okay. Just let me back in
right,
there. Oh,
right.
sure. You
Look, I'm fine.
I wanna
broke
go-
all of our shit so we can't get out
I
of here.
want to go swimming in the swimming pool. It made me feel young again.
Right.
Sorry, wrong movie.
So I see the point with this in what we're saying about the Thing is really it starts off with a larger group, dwindles down to a claustrophobic few in a tiny room with a burning facility around them. Whereas American Werewolf starts off in a very tiny claustrophobic tavern on the moors that grows into this chaos in all of London.
Right.
So we've got one movie that shrinks to a claustrophobic, and we got one that expands to a
you don't want to say overwhelming because it's not. It's
well, it's an honest comparison.
Well, but also, and like even to that same thing, I think the other thing, and we talked about it in the last episode.
It's funny how every time we say the Thing, I'm thinking like, are you talking about the movie?
Yeah.
Good thing we clarified.
The last time we were talking about the Thing was the fact that it's like the very fact that it was in the Arctic or Antarctic, whichever way around it is. That's also claustrophobic.
Yes.
Because again, it's
even though it's like an expanse, it's hard. There's nothing to
there's
help you.
There's nowhere really to
Yes,
go.
yeah.
Again, it's the classic case of like so many horror movies. Halloween being the classic one again. We said this before, which is at the end of the day, they could have just run out of the fucking house and ran away.
Yeah, get in
Then
the car
you
and
can't
leave.
do that in the Thing.
Yeah, you can't do that in the Thing because you're going to die of.
Especially when one of the men destroys the car, the only thing that you could drive away in, right?
Right, right.
So,
Anyway, so
I think we
is-
should make our
we've actually
decisions.
talked a while about this.
We
Well,
have, but this is tough.
This is tough. This
I
is tough.
tried to pick apart comparisons so we would say, oh yeah, this is the winner because it did this better, and this better, and this better.
So I'm going to put you on the spot. Pick a winner.
Shit.
Yeah,
But,
you're
I
going
don't
first.
have a- I
but your
don't
point
have a
being the
winner.
fact that at the end of the day, they both did each of these things exceptionally well,
Yes.
differently,
Yes.
but they both did them exceptionally well.
Yes.
Right. I'm a fan of both movies, an extreme fan of both movies. American Werewolf in London, the storytelling, John Landis is a master. He's kind of like, just the way he tells stories is wonderful because he mixes the humor and he's got great special effects, but he's got characters that you remember and you know about and it's memorable moments. And the Thing is the same way, maybe not the same sort of storytelling because you don't have the same comedy, you don't have the same sort of slice of life kind of relatability to it, right? It's the opposite of that. They're in the Arctic, nobody relates to that. They're in the, well, I mean, I guess you can relate to some of the characters because they're very cliched characters, not very cliched, cliched characters. But that creature and the whole concept behind the creature and the way they pulled it off is phenomenal. I love what they did with American Werewolf in London. I still freak out when just the simple hand thing, even though it's like,
Even though you probably know the effect now.
Exactly.
But it still sticks with you.
God, this is, I don't know if I'm ready to pick.
Too bad.
Okay, I'll take over.
Okay.
All
right.
And I'll 100% agree with every single thing you said. I will say, I would probably always have put John Landis just a tad ahead in terms of my favorite director. But out of these two, I'm going The Thing. Okay. I just think, again, I love American Werewolf in London. I've seen the movie so many times.
Right.
If I had to find a single fault in it, it's what you said, and we said it in the last episode, which I just think like the ending, just like went, okay,
too quick.
All of a sudden we shot him. He's gone.
Yeah.
Boom. Done.
I would have preferred some mauling going on, and then they eventually got to it.
Right.
Like, I know there was the big chase, but it's still like just
No,
extended like another.
I know what you're talking. I agree.
Right?
It seemed to end just a little bit quicker.
I agree.
And I think it would have been an even harder of a decision if they had extended that a little bit. I still think I probably would go with The Thing.
Okay. You want to go next, or you want me?
I want you to go next because I'd like to see what you. I'm just interested to see what you pick.
So, to me, honestly, I didn't love either ending.
Okay.
Because again, the American Werewolf in London, I agree 100% with what you said. It just seemed like out of nowhere it just ended, and the Thing ended with them kind of looking at each other, and you're like, all right, one of us is the Thing, one of us isn't, kind of thing. But we don't know that. The Thing
They
could have
both
been
could
back
not
in the
be.
snow,
Right.
and they both were not, or they wouldn't both have been the Thing. They would have known. But so even that was kind of like, to me, it seemed a little bit like a cop out. I get the whole drama, like, oh, but it ended tense. They're just going to stand there and freeze to death, looking at each other.
But I think that is a better ending than all of a sudden tension, tension, tension.
Yeah.
But
Moving on.
But if you're the Thing, and you're one of those, are you going to just sit there and freeze while you're looking at this guy? No, you're going to fucking kill him.
Are you though? Because
A
you know
simulator.
at that point, if I'm the Thing,
Yeah.
he's gonna die. I'm just gonna freeze and be reborn, right? That's how I looked at that.
But that's what he tried to do originally, right? When he
Yeah.
was out.
But now he's got a better chance because he's above the ice.
Yeah.
Before he got buried, he just was stuck there. They pulled him out. They freed him, so to speak. So
Yeah.
that's what might happen. Is maybe I don't know if he would freeze enough that he could come back. But yeah, all
Right.
they probably would do is put him in a room for 20 minutes or an hour.
Okay, all right.
Microwave
I
Yeah,
think
there you go.
on defrost.
I think the Thing is a way better character.
Okay.
I think the American Werewolf in London was a way better told story. I think they both had merit. There is no loser in this. I'm going to go with American Werewolf in London.
Okay.
You're not wrong.
Now you make my
I-
life
yeah.
even harder.
You can't go wrong. You're not going to pick the loser. You're not going to pick a winner. They're both winners.
Yeah,
but whatever.
they are both, and I agree on that. That they both. This was a very tough bracket, but I'm going to try and make it brief because I think all the points that have been made about
we
this already.
have beaten this one to death.
Yeah,
but
I don't
was
think
tough.
we beat it to death. It's just that's how tough it is, right?
Yeah.
So to me, it's you've got an it's kind of Big Bang versus Big Crunch, right? You've got the Big Crunch
the
is
expansion versus the
you've got the big
shrinkage.
crunch of you start off with the bigger crew
Yep.
down to the smaller,
Yep.
And then vice versa.
Yep.
But the way that the feeling of just claustrophobia in the Thing, to this day, you can't watch that movie without watching it all the way through. Like
Right.
that's when it's
Right.
on TV. Even if I catch it halfway through, I watch it. Till the
American
end.
Werewolf, we
Right.
can just get to Jenny Agutter in the shower.
Yeah,
Okay,
there you go. All right.
And I'm spent.
And then I fall asleep because I'm already finished. Anyway, no. But obviously, I'm going to go towards I'm going to say the Thing.
Lean toward. You got to
I'm
decide.
going to lean towards. I'm going to say the Thing. The
Okay.
Thing is my choice.
Okay. The
So-
Thing moves on. I'm
so
not
the Thing
upset.
moves on? No, that's
I-
honestly, if you both picked American Werewolf, I probably would have
right.
still picked the Thing, but just
Right, right.
because that's one of those movies that's just will stick with
Yeah.
you and stay with
I
you. So.
could have gone either direction as well.
Yep.
It's a tough one. All right.
All right,
let's
so
wrap
we're going
this
to do our
up.
little
Let's,
graphic here
Yep.
to
let's
show
do
you.
it.
Drum roll. So now we've got the Thing moving on.
Moving on across.
And it's bigger. The bigger Thing.
Although I'm not going to be able to get much bigger. We're crowding the shit out of
Hey,
this
man.
bracket.
Ooh.
So now next week, we're going to have The Shining versus Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yep.
And
That's
after
even-
watching Nightmare on Elm Street, the original, that is a good freaking movie. I'm not so sure it's going to beat out The Shining. But
Let's find out.
we're going to find out.
Come inside of us. No,
Some of you people are going to say,
Inside.
come inside and join us. I was trying
No.
something and it didn't work. I think
No.
it's the whiskeys are talking.
we'll wrap this one
Yeah,
up.
we'll wrap
We've
it.
gone close. Wow, this was a long one.
Yeah.
Well,
Sorry, folks. This needed a lot of discussion.
Yep.
We had to convince ourselves.
All
So,
right. All right, folks. So let's see. So this is the end of the movie portion.
correct.
Right.
And we did the bourbon portion.
Yep.
Right.
portion.
So we'll end here. We will record our next
Finishing the
episode,
bottle.
which is the finishing the bottle.
Which-
finishing the bottle.
finishing
Finish
the bottle.
Finishing.
Yep.
Which
Thanks
will
for
come
coming,
out tomorrow.
everybody. Yep. Yeah, right. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It's all good.
No.
Tomorrow,
Remember that.
coming out,
Because
Yep.
today is Friday,
and tomorrow
so
will be
tomorrow's Saturday. You're going to
Saturday.
get to watch the next episode.
And then when you watch the next episode, it'll be everything if you want.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
Anyway,
All right, folks.
cool. Thank
Thanks
you.
for coming,
Like, comment,
everybody.
subscribe. Tell us we're wrong. Tell us we're right.
Give us comments, please.
Yes.
Talk to us. Tell
Yes.
us
We
that
need
you
feedback.
like this or don't
Otherwise,
like
we
this.
think we're right all the time.
Yeah.
We can't
What
have that.
would you have chosen? This is a tough bracket.
Yeah, this
Step up. Let's hear what you would have
Yeah.
done and why.
It's real easy to yell at us, yell at the screen.
All right. Thanks for coming, everybody.
All right, folks.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in.
Like, comment, and subscribe.
Be sure to follow us on social media.
How come you got more?
Because you're lame. You don't know what to say.
What are we supposed to do? Like
Logan,
time it all
been
out.
like tune into the next
you
one
keep
or something.
screwing it up.
but
You're gonna knock
Okay,
it
this is
out
like take
airtime.
15. And like I only screwed up like 3 of them. You screwed up like 8.
Look, we're just gonna keep this one, okay?
This is the one.
This is
Right.
it.
This
We're
one
done.
right here.
Finish
Okay.
it. Does it.
And